Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody listening, and hello to my panelists as well. We are saying hello from the 77th Cannes Film Festival and presenting the Vona project. And I'm really happy to say hello to also Johannes Müller and Holland. So we just seen this this trailer, and although I've seen it many times, it still sparks this emotion in me. So I do want to start by just taking all the steps back and maybe asking you to give a bit of context and background. So Johannes, maybe you can give us a quick pitch on the Vona documentary and maybe a little bit of motivation and inspiration behind the choice of topic as well.
Thank you for the introduction, Kai. We're very happy to be here at the Cannes Film Festival and to have this special opportunity to combine our film project Vona with a hackathon, which means that we have a film project talking about the environmental damage that has been done to Ukraine during the war and the problems that come with it. And at the same time, searching for solutions, trying to have a film project, engaging people, engaging the audience to work together on this issue, to be here at the hackathon, to work on problem statements that help us also to move forward with a film project. Maybe some words to the film project. That was initiated by Eric sitting next to me. And I came on board as a creative producer, working together now with Flair Film. And we're making it an international co-production and the aim is, so to say, to create a project that is not only happening in Ukraine, but that has the power to tell the story of Ukraine on an international level and combine it with a topic which is not only happening in Ukraine, but is happening in the whole world, which is the damage to environment, which is the damage to environment by war, and which should be penalized. Maybe so far from my side.
Great, thank you for not jumping straight into the hackathon part. Maybe just from Eric as well. Just many steps back when you started working on this. A little bit of kind of background and motivation. Why did you take this on?
Yeah, thanks again, Kai, for having us. We've been working on this for about a year now, and it really kind of started when you saw exactly what was happening, not just to war, not just the human toll, but you see the toll that it takes on the environment, and then understanding that people need the environment to exist as people. And so we started working on it at talking about the war, but not talking about the war, talking about the environment as also a way to help keep people's attention and awareness that this is happening. And also to encourage another angle, encourage people to see another angle of just how terrible war is. So we just kind of started slowly, like researching, and then the story grew. And then it coincided with the fact that Ukraine took it upon themselves to start this investigation into mass environmental destruction as a war crime. And that's something new for a nation to take on, especially actually when the war is still happening. And that's part of that is the fact that we're in this new technology where things can be recorded and documented at the same time that they're happening at a different level than we're used to. So that grew, and everywhere that we presented the idea or talked to people about the idea, it got a really good response. So I felt like this is really an international story, and that's when we started bringing on our partners, and we're pushing forward. And I think it's an amazing opportunity to be in the beginning of our production cycle, and to have a impact campaign and all these things kind of starting all at the same time.
Yeah, well, I'm really asking these questions as an outsider from the film industry, right? And that's why I am really just interested in how it all started, and as a, let's say, like avid fan of documentaries, I can watch many. In a week, I can go through a lot of them, and I feel like emotionally engaged in all of them. So I'm just interested in, when did you come up with this, and what are your maybe experiences from before Vona project, like similar things that inspired this kind of, let's make a documentary, but then also add on looking for solutions, engaging people, starting a social campaign. Is this something that you have done before, and what are kind of similar projects that have inspired Vona before?
No, I mean, I would say that what we're trying to do with Vona, the Vona movement, really came out of our partnership with 372 community in Estonia. And this idea of a film having an impact in a way that is not traditional for a film. A film can have an impact campaign, but usually that comes after the film is made and then used to raise awareness, either like, festivals, discussion panels, conferences, things like that. And then this idea of bringing technology and activism together at an early stage, I think, is something that we're trying to do, and it's a challenge because it's new, and so it was really the combination of having the right partners who had an eye into a different sector than the film that allowed us to come up with these ideas.
Johannes, anything in your experience that can be similar, or that you are taking inspiration from?
I would say I was really happy about the offer to come on board of this project, because I have a background like in political science, and at the same time I also, when I worked in feature film and I produced a feature film, and back then we did like a small impact campaign in order to create an audience, and I realized how powerful it can be when you already address your audience while making the film, and it works in different directions, in direction of creating the audience, but also finding financiers, finding different also angles, new stories that you add to the final film, making it more powerful than just staying within your closed circle of filmmakers. And therefore, I think this is a much bigger opportunity, because it's a topic that is so important and that people should talk much more about, and that is not only, as I said already, limited to Ukraine, but it is an issue that, well, if we don't handle it in Ukraine, there will be other wars, and if we don't find solutions for that, like this issue will just get worse.
Yeah, well, the situation for me is totally unique as well. In my own experience, right, I've come from the hackathon scene, from the tech community, and we have done these kinds of hackathons around social issues before. And I've been talking about this today as well. This hackathon movement around COVID-19, which sparked not only like tech solutions, but also this kind of social movement around it, and people really, raising awareness around this topic at that time. So, this kind of makes me believe that this what we're doing here with Vona is really powerful, but it is really unique because this kind of documentary aspect is new, right? And we can really just. Well, I already said the trailer already sparks emotion, and this kind of visual side of it can really add on to creating awareness. So I would like to kind of go into this. I think Eric, you mentioned really nicely this USP, the unique selling point of the film, and maybe like elaborating a little bit on this, what you just started to talk about, and how is it different, and how is it kind of taken on from the film industry to do something like this. Do you want to start, Eric?
Yeah. So, like, I won't claim that this is the first time this has ever happened or anything like that. Just from my own experience and talking to other people in the film industry, is we're taking basically our impact campaign and moving it to the front of the production cycle. And I think it's interesting in this regard because both the story and the impact campaign are happening in real time. You know, the war is happening, the environment's getting destroyed each day, and our impact campaign is growing and looking for solutions each day, and we're reaching new people each day. And I'm really interested in how those two lines can feed each other. And, like if there's a spark on one side, then it can feed the other side and the story changes, and you're actually watching something grow organically that you kind of kicked off.
Johannes, do you want to add?
Also, like the side that I'm really excited to see here in Cannes, that we are able to connect people, and at the same time having the possibility as a film project to how to say differently. If you walk around here in Cannes, you see that film has the potential to attract people and to engage people and to motivate people to talk about topics, be it the stars walking around here, be it just the very emotional stories. And therefore, I think we have the opportunity here to put a spark on a topic and to engage people. And I'm really excited about the next days here.
Yeah, well, just again to add the hackathon context, then what we've been working on, right, is the project to engage both sides. So invite along tech startups to come along with their solutions. Maybe they need to adapt them somehow. Maybe they need to really make sure that the existing technology can be used in Ukraine, and that's the reason why we want to put them together with local partners. So it's kind of happening in parallel to the filmmaking as well, and I'm really excited. Yeah, like this is the kind of what we're trying to find as well. Like where do they overlap, and how can we how can one side use the other for the benefit, right? But I do want to talk about, like, other than the actual solutions, this is what we're trying to do, is to engage as many people as possible, right? And we were talking about the film festivals and different platforms where we can go with this, and this is already amazing that we're here today talking about this in front of the film industry. But what are the other platforms, environments where this can kind of where we can spread this?
That's a good question. It is really a good question. I think in general, like places, events where people come together are good places to do that. And film, be it like a long format film, but it can also be like in a shorter format, and can always play a role at conferences. I don't know. When we were talking about where we want to film, we are in the development also to find out where are places where people come together, where people engage, and where we, with the project, by going there, can put the spark and just push the motivation even more, and just find new stories and be part of the process. And of course, on an international level, there are conferences where people meet, but also on a local level. I hope that for Ukraine or also in other countries where people develop technologies, where they cooperate with Ukraine, when they see that their work is being followed it creates motivation, it creates visibility, and it goes also in the other direction, that it helps in a way for them to continue with their work.
Do you want to add, Eric? I think the question here is like how to break out from the bubble of the usual kind of journey, right? And usually it is maybe the kind of film industry central points, but how are we reaching this story to kind of outside of the film industry and you know, film festivals? How are we reaching a wider audience with this?
I mean, I think you could look at both directions. You know, so we're at a film festival now, but we have a hackathon. And quite honestly, when the idea of a hackathon we were talking about, I had to look it up. Like, I didn't know what a hackathon was. I didn't know how it worked. So I'm Googling it, and you know, it's all about code. And I'm like, well, how? I don't understand. I don't understand what they're doing. And so, you know, it's by bridging these two things together, we're already reaching a new audience. I mean, I'm amazed at the amount of, there's like a Telegram channel where like experts and scientists like come on board, and they're, you know, it's like, oh, we're doing this water thing that cleans this and does this. Or we have this micro testing station. And, you know, I think the power of film is it helps break through some of the noise of, it's just like not another tech conference. It's not this. It's there's something special about it. And then I think we can also jump to the other side. Like, one of our next ideas is to do something similar at COP29, which is not a film-based thing, is not anything to do with that type of media. It's like, you know, politicians and scientists getting together to try to change, you know, something at this super high level, but we can bring in the power and the emotion of film and the engagement that a film can bring to something and break into it from that direction as well. And it's organic. And so, you know, I don't think Cannes has ever had a hackathon on their website, and they do now. And I don't think COP29 has ever had a documentary film in production about a topic on their agenda, you know, so that's what we're trying to do.
Absolutely. I want to ask also, because you mentioned, you know, these different decision makers, and I know that you have been working a lot to kind of engage the partners in Ukraine and internationally as well. So, you know, how do you sell this? What's your what's your method? And kind of, you know, have you identified what is their motivation? Because as you said, yourself, you had to look up hackathon, right? Yeah. So how do you now take on this this task to kind of, you know, make others understand it?
Like, are you talking about like on Ukraine from government level, or different buy-in?
I mean decision makers. So if we talk about, you know, like we come to Cannes, we want to go to a COP event, we want to, you know, engage the partners. Is this something that, you know, like this is such a unique project? So I'm trying to figure how are you making everybody believe in it?
Yeah, I mean, let's see. I think part of it is the uniqueness from each side's perspective. Like, I would say that it's unique for a film festival to be tied to something that creates solutions or a hackathon. So that's, you know, a unique thing for it to be tied to a documentary. You know, so say if we go to COP29, it's unique for them to be tied to a film project. You know, and so that is a differentiator that can help it shine between all of the other things that are in that same container or that same vertical. And as far as, you know, just general buy-in and things like that, it's a serious problem, and people care about the environment, and it has impacts that, you know, go way beyond what happens in Ukraine. And it's, you know, this has been happening, you know, at every war, and this, you know, we're finally at a turning point where hopefully there can be some justice and some accountability for this type of destruction.
Do you want to add?
I think I would like to add also, like, there's also a difficult side that we also encountered, like some difficulties when you see like film filming, like at COP29, for example, like film is always creating kind of a transparency. At the same time, we're kind of creating a narrative that they cannot control, people cannot control, because the filmmakers control it. And therefore, I think it's also important to mention that there is something at stake, and that it's to have an impact campaign doesn't necessarily mean that everybody's in favor of it, but creating a strong narrative might help them to change their minds. And in the end, maybe if we talk about Ecocide, for example, on an international level, it will be very, very difficult to make a move in a direction that it will be punished. But having more people talk about it, having more awareness about the topic will eventually maybe help.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I'm kind of trying to squeeze out of you as well, because coming to the solutions part, it's not an easy thing to let's say to elaborate on, or you talk about the movie, then you start talking about hacking. I think anyway this word has a little bit of a, like you say, you had to look it up, and sometimes I guess it has a bit of a negative connotation, like what kind of hackers are going to be here and what are they going to be doing. So the story behind this, and I think my question to you is what do you expect the outcome to be, or what are you promising, to the partners right now that you're engaging in the movie making? So, what's your kind of future vision? How are these solutions going to be in the movie, and how are they going to be implemented in the real world? At least in your vision, in your view, right? What are you expecting?
For me, it's as a filmmaker, it's also very important to highlight that it is about storytelling, and it is about emotion, and it's not a PR movie. It is really about an artistic project, and I think that's also the approach how you get the people, that you say, okay, we're making a film that will present the stories in an artistic way, where you will find yourself with your stories, and trying to make not trying to. Well, there's a general approach of documentary filmmaking, I would say, that you try not to judge, that you try to create a platform. And in addition to that, what we offer is that we connect as well, that we create visibility and at the same time make new connections between partners.
Mm-hmm. And, I would add to that, talking to, like EU commissioners' offices or ministries' offices, they're also experiencing like how to get their message out, how to get people more aware of this term ecocide, or destruction of the environment, and the long time impacts that it has, and things like that. And, they see also understand the power that a film has, and the merging of those two things together, they see the benefit, as opposed to just holding just another straight conference or writing another paper, or it's kind of that term of like talking to the acquired. It's a way to message outside of a lot of their normal communication channels. And I think, the promise, I mean, there's no like, okay, this is going to happen, this is going to be solved. It's just the promise of caring about the issue enough to make a film, and putting the amount of effort and time into it, and being respectful of the issue, and at least trying to push in the direction for change.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to add in from the hackathon side as well, right? Because while you are talking to the partners and the kind of protagonists in the film, then I'm talking to startups, right? And this is great to see that they are willing to take their kind of business case and adapt it to what Ukraine needs. And I am kind of not, well, hopefully not over promising, but definitely thinking long term in a way that it's not just the, whatever 48, 36 hours to come to a hackathon or to an event, but right now we are identifying solutions that can work in Ukraine long term, right? And this is kind of what I would like to see. But maybe one thing is how do we keep this momentum going, right? Like how do we, after this event, for example, like we are in Cannes, this is all kind of built up and has a lot of energy in this. I'm very happy that we can come next week to Estonia and to present again at Latitude 59, which is a totally different event, like you said before, right? Like there's a film festival, and now we can go to a tech festival and engage the Estonian startup community. We will come up with next platforms, but what else can we do to keep this energy and momentum going, and maybe that's part of the startups as well that can help with that. What do you think?
Sorry, I over.
No, I'm just thinking how are we keeping the momentum going after we are working with the startups, trying to get them to really pilot and build something in Ukraine. But can we kind of vision together how the documentary can also keep this momentum going, or how can we keep this awareness being built and developing?
I mean, just from the filmmaking side, there is a very easy answer because we're following the stories. So, and by following the stories, we are interested in a development, in monitoring a development, but I'm very open also to find new means in order to monitor this development and also push it. And I'm not sure how to do it yet, but like apart from social media, apart from new events that will happen, apart from the companies that are in the hackathon that do things in Ukraine that we follow up on. So
yeah. Maybe the question is a little bit like, the documentary will at one point come out as well, and people are going to see it, and then hopefully we will have success stories from the tech companies. So what if then now people see it, let's say in Germany? So how can they engage? How can they feel, if now they feel very inspired by this story? How can they kind of get along and join the movement?
I mean, there's certainly like the top level side that by doing a film like that you see that you're saying like, we see you, we know what you're doing, and if you don't punish Ecocide, well, you eventually will have like people who won't support you anymore because they saw the film, or kind of you engage people so they get politically active. Well, if we talk about Germany, so that's probably the aim, And at the same time, of course, we have the kind of war fatigue in Germany, that you have to find ways to engage people to tell the Ukrainian stories in Germany, not only by showing war footage in the news all the time, because unfortunately, it is the case that people get tired of it.
Yeah, and I totally believe that as well, that it's something that we were mentioning before, that the very important part is that we're not preaching to the choir, like we're getting more and more people to kind of understand the scope of this problem, and we are in a position where we are quite comfortably just looking from afar, and I think already what I've seen from the documentary, it really sparks this emotional reaction to what actually is left after war has gone over the field, the environment. Sorry, but you want to add?
Yeah, I would just add a little bit to that. One of the aspects of having the hackathon or impact campaign at the beginning of the production cycle is that, as Johannes was saying, it's part of the story. And as this is organically growing, we can see what is happening on the tech side or the solution side or the character side or the environment side and pivot if there's something amazing going on here, and it doesn't necessarily need to be part of like the main documentary. There's all kinds of media sources, short form content that could be like a spin-off on one solution that got introduced back into Ukraine and put into other content delivery platforms or systems, branded content, like things like that. And so since it's happening in real time as we're making everything, we have those options to push content into a direction that we think will have impact.
Interesting. So, like, what kind of platforms would that engage?
Several documentaries now do branded content, which is a short form of their bigger issue. And it doesn't always necessarily even be part of the bigger film. Say it's a really nice scene about a firefighter fighting a forest fire, right? And it didn't quite make it into the documentary because he wasn't one of the protagonists, but it's a really nice little short story. That could go potentially to like a New York Times op-ed or a Vanity Fair media piece that they put on their website and they write an article against it. Or, there's new ways of telling these stories to new audiences.
Yeah, well, one thing that I'm really impressed about, working on this project is the engagement from, kind of top-level decision makers that we have, Alexandra Maciuk, and we have Kaja Kallas, and there's a lot of people that are engaging with this. So, maybe you can add that as well, not from the tech side, but from the film side. Like, who are the people that have inspired you, and you are kind of you would like to share who has been showing support, and this will probably be part of the big momentum that's going to happen after.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the big names or the people that are in the spotlight on policy or activism or those type of things are inspirational. When they come back and go, thank you for the work you're doing, or thank you for caring and trying to make this project. But also just all the people that you talk to, down to a scientist, a protagonist, a victim, an activist, and just hearing their story, understanding their story, and also their acknowledgement that they want this to be told. And it helps when you're going through all the hard work that it takes to build this, kind of a base of, like social community, essentially, around this topic, around this issue, around solutions, and it helps you keep going, and it propels you just as, when you're defending or fighting for any issue.
Yeah. Johannes, do you have someone on your mind?
I mean, we have, I guess there's like two sides to it. Like we're searching as filmmakers for protagonists in our film, and then we also need like partners. And you were mentioning Alexandra Matvichuk, who has the power to be in the film, to lead us in the film. But we're also on the search for partners who help us. Like you mentioned Kaja Kallas, who I don't know if she's gonna be in the film. We don't know that, but like also these partners. I don't want to drop names here because we're in the in the process of talking to people. So, but definitely it plays a big role. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that, I hope that some of these are coming from the tech world as well. And, we are only at the start of starting this process of engaging tech teams, but also the same experience that I'm getting, that people are very excited. They want to know more, and I'm not, like I said before, I'm not surprised, but I'm really impressed how people are willing to kind of, even with a very limited time resource, they are willing to jump on. They're sharing their videos. They're coming, with with readiness to really offer a solution. So these kinds of people, I guess, are the people also that are going to create this momentum. Hopefully, we'll get some big sustainability startup influencers on the movie as well, and that they will be part of it. So I think that's we kind of talking about the similarities between the movie community, let's say, or the film community industry and the tech community. I'm trying to kind of also understand what are the differences between, because it seems that me coming from the tech side of it, it's just everything is just super quick. We also always want to find solutions. Is this something that you think is similar to the film community? And is this the overlap that we are searching for?
I want to ask you a question first.
Sure.
So when a lot of the work I do for the film is like pitching this to people, but like either from the owners of the problem standpoint or film community. What is the pitch like to the startups or the tech community? Like, what's their reaction to there's a film tied to this thing, or the film is memorializing this issue, or I'm super curious.
Yes, well, it is. The pitch is just kind of, it has several layers, and depends on who you're talking to. I always kind of start with, let me just take a few steps back, and then I start talking about first of all the documentary, and then the next step is the hackathon, and then the third step is kind of the partners that we are engaging, and the Estonian government supporting, and all this kind of collaboration between different nations, and I think it gets a bit messy sometimes, and people are like, wait, Cannes Film Festival, like, what is this? Like, usually you tell us about tech conferences, and so I think it is in this sense like a unique project that needs a little bit of kind of explanation. But I do think that what makes the tech community unique is when you give them a bit of a complex problem, and you give them this let's say kind of awareness or attention, then people are interested, and I guess that makes it unique, that there could be a door open that has kind of everything behind it, right? It has the partners, it has this mission, it has possibility to kind of actually make something work. So I think it's not only me that believes in it, but it is something great to share, and you can see from the feedback that people do want to be part of it. Yeah.
I think what I like also about the idea of connecting it together is that sometimes I have the feeling in the film industry, you pitch a lot of projects, you talk a lot about projects. In the end, sometimes you don't get the financing, and the project just disappears in the drawer. And connecting it, like not only talking about projects but doing things, also I think makes it more probable for film projects to be realized in the end, because there's more to it than just. I'm talking mostly about fiction films, because it's all created in your mind. But I think that'd be something interesting for me. Like when I look at the tech world, you have an issue that you want to solve, and then you go mostly, I guess, till the end, and then you have something in your hands, right?
I do think so, but it's also there's always this question of awareness, right? And like if I look at as a conference organizer, for example, I need to, let's say, cover everything, like all fields. If it's a, let's say, early stage startup conference, Latitude 59, we can see them as a supporter as well. So I'm happy to talk about the event. It's just, we need to cover everything, right? And if you're a small startup in, let's say, sustainability field, this is your biggest thing. Like, how are we going to get awareness to this really important topic usually? But then there's just so much going on. There's so much noise, right? And then there's always in the startup world the question of what makes the most money as well, right? So now it's this question of how to make impact more important than the kind of economical benefit that can be derived from that. So it's I think this kind of film part, and I'm not too sure if I am 100% correct in this hypothesis, is just adding value to the startup that can kind of derive this attention from this. So I think it's the both sides are kind of in it for the same thing, like creating awareness and making these solutions like be noticed and getting the attention that they need.
I mean, one thing I would add to that I realized as you were speaking there was, I think there's a certain amount of reach that a film can have, and I'm not talking about reach for audiences. I'm talking about reach when you call or write an email to a minister's office, or you're trying to get information, or you're trying to get a person, or you're trying to get a story. There's a certain power that the film has because it's a sexy medium, it's a powerful medium that can potentially get to resources or people that would be usually off limits to like a startup. And so, I think there is some symbiotic relationship with being able to connect to the people that they need to talk to or the research they need to reach, because a door was open because it was a film project. And I think it would be very interesting from the film side, because I can't speak from the other side, to see what can be offered to a story from the technology side.
Exactly. Johannes, do you want to add to this?
I mean, it's more a question. I agree with Eric. It's a question because, as I said before, like we don't do PR films necessarily, but we address important topics. And if you, with your, I guess also startups, when they want to raise finances, they have to create a narrative, kind of why is this, this software or what they develop, why is it needed? And being part of a bigger narrative might help.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
well. So the question to you is then, next week, this is me just doing a lot of projects at the same time. I'm also putting together the program for Latitude 59 that I mentioned, right? The tech event in Tallinn, and we want to feature the Vona project on Latitude stage, which will be a global technology innovation people. So, this is the task for you now. You have 5 minutes on stage. So what is your call to action to these people, thinking that it's a tech community that, we're not going to feature a lot of film projects on the stage, but obviously everybody in Estonia cares a lot about Ukraine and the cause. So, what is it that is your call to action to the tech community as filmmakers? And then you have to come to Estonia next week. So this is your first rehearsal.
Well, if I do a loud brainstorm here, and I'm trying to decipher, is that the English word? Decipher. If I decipher like the different levels, first of all, it's, I said, I would say I'm addressing to startups that kind of feel a social responsibility to join into the movement, to join in to help rebuilding Ukraine, to help investigating the ecocide in Ukraine, and we are going to cover it, and we're gonna take care that it's gonna be in everybody's mouth, and everybody is gonna watch it in the whole world.
Great, Eric.
I started out in the tech industry a long time ago, many lifetimes ago. And one of the reasons I didn't like it is how you had to pitch and you have like these like 3 minutes.
Time limits, yeah.
And so I'm terrible at that part. I mean, I would say that, you know, like building off of what Johannes had is I think it's important to identify the startups or the visionaries that do want to have an impact other than just the widget. And, you know, I think that's where the film can come in, the storytelling. And I would also say that it allows the issue to drive development in this certain way. It's like there's it gives you now my English is escaping me, the base or the foundation of validation that this is a big issue that needs to be dealt with, and because they're making a film about it. And so this is something that's, you know, you see in the news, they're making a film about it, and then it gives you validation that your goal with your startup, if it's in that sector, has a community built around it that needs these solutions. And one thing I would add to it, you know, right now, I always kind of say, like, we're looking through the lens of the current war in Ukraine. But these environmental issues will be there when the war is over. And these environmental issues will happen again. I mean, it's like, you know, one thing this is not going to end the war or people making wars, but we're trying to solve a problem that comes out of it. And this problem is something that can be applied to many sustainable rebuilding things, new technologies for drinking water, new technologies for air cleaning. And so it has a much, much bigger impact that I think can use the current environment in Ukraine as its test bed.
Yeah, I'm gonna answer from my side as well, because with like wearing the Latitude 59 hat for a second as well, our kind of keywords this year are connection and responsibility. And, you know, looking at the Vona project, it didn't really, we weren't hesitating to support it and come with it, because it's exactly, you know, what we want to say as a conference or a tech community gathering as well, that there is a responsibility to build technology that actually addresses really complex problems. Like, you know, we are out of this, I think I call, you know, it's whatever we call it, I call it sometimes the sandwich app era, where everything is just built because we want to have like a more comfortable life and everything needs to be automated for us. I think, you know, the whole community is now already in this time where they take responsibility in making sure that everything that we build is for the good of society, right? And this made a lot of sense. And then obviously the keyword of connection, where we just think about how can we bring all of these different communities together. You know, obviously the film affects way more people and that are outside of the tech bubble, so to say. And I think that has huge impact. So I'm very proud that we can also be part of it and supporting from the tech side. And I want to start wrapping up a little bit, and obviously, you know, this theme or topic is something really important, profound, but also a little bit depressing. And you know, when we're thinking about this, then at least in the tech world, we like this tech optimism, this definition of, you know, kind of building something you don't even know what the success looks like. You kind of feel that you are, you know, reaching the explosion in the end, but you are still building something just to make sure that, you know, at least we are trying. And I'm guessing that, you know, yes, we are putting attention to tough problems, but at the same time, we want to spark hope and spark, you know, kind of understanding that there is some kind of salvation and solution in the end. So maybe you can just share as a wrap up this little spark of hope that you hope that the whole project will give to the world.
Well, I share it.
Yes.
What's the hope that we are all that we could be looking towards when we're thinking about ecocides and well, you've talked about this a lot here. Like, we are looking for solutions, but what does we usually ask this in the tech community? What does success look like?
I think it's a lot about positivity also that I encountered in this project so far, in times where it's really hard to keep the positivity, and just the energy of coming together and working on something creates so much positivity, and I think also so much that we don't know yet where it is going, but I'm hopeful that it goes somewhere because it feels positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the word I'll use for it is resilience. And I've been personally very inspired by the resilience of Ukraine and how, it's, we're years into this war now, and it's that feeds off of me, and still taking the time to care also about the environment and wildlife and stuff, even during these dark times of war, and the spirit of Ukraine has really helped push this project. I mean, without that, it would be very, very hard to get the energy to keep pushing into a topic about destruction.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. I want to thank you both actually for doing this work, because this really shows what the power of storytelling, and I'm happy to be part of it as well, bringing in the power of tech worlds. And I think when we put these two together, we can really see the success happening. So thank you for that, and thank you for listening.
And thank you too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.